from Rock and Load, and I've got the pleasure this afternoon of talking to Robbie Crane.
How you doing,
and
brother?
Damon Johnson from the fantastic Black Star Riders. Thank you.
Gotta live with a killer instinct. You gotta die a little to survive. You gotta love with a killer instinct. You gotta live a little to get back.
You've been talking to us, guys.
Absolutely. Thank
you. This is the 7th date, is it, of the UK tour with Def Leppard and Whitesnake?
Yeah.
You're the opening band. How's it gone so far?
Pretty fantastic. You
Yeah.
know, it's these are some dates we've been looking forward to for a long time. You know, anytime, really in any band, that you get a chance to play the big rooms with some bigger bands, you know, gives you an opportunity to make some new fans. This tour is a bonus for us because we have great friends. We're really close with all the Whitesnake guys, all the Def Leppard guys. So it's literally been like this caravan, the holiday almost, you know, like even, you know, the wives and like, you know, we've just all been around each other a good amount through the years. So it makes it a great environment.
You've had an early start, haven't you, at each gig? Have you drawn the crowds in?
Crowd's been pretty good, yeah. I think they've been pretty good, very responsive. You know, they seem to be showing up pretty early, right?
Yeah, you know, it's one of the bonuses of having an active social media crowd. You know, we made a point to let everybody know that we're on early. You know, we're generally on about 6:40, 6:45 each night. So if you want to catch our entire set, certainly you need to get here. But we've been very pleased with the turnout. You know, certainly by the time we're to the halfway point, there are plenty more, you know, people in the audience. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you're not just a support band, you're a well-known name, aren't you? So people will turn up anyway. The people that haven't seen you before, people will turn up just to check you out. Because, right, Black Star
Yeah,
Riders,
you know,
we know who they are, we'll check you out.
I've noticed that. You know, Ricky's on Facebook and
Yeah.
stuff like that a lot, and you know, we've noticed there are people that will come by and post that were like, "Hey, I'd never seen your band until, you know, I saw you opening for the guys." So,
But it is the way to hear Black Star Riders is to hear you live.
Oh.
Isn't it? I mean, the albums are fantastic.
Yeah.
thank you.
Both albums are fantastic. But I've seen you 2 or 3 times now, and the way to hear you for the first time and for whatever is to hear you live.
Yeah, I think we enjoy playing live. I think the energy that the band together and just we enjoyed doing our live thing. I think it's important
Yeah.
for people to see that.
And I think I saw your first ever gig. Was it at Home Firth?
Home Firth, yeah.
I saw your first ever gig with Black Star Riders. That was 18 months ago.
Yeah, 18 months ago, yeah, July 2004.
How's the last 18 months been for you?
Yeah. It's been amazing for me. Being the Black Star Riders has been a great experience for me. You know, it's definitely a different band or different musicians culturally. I've always come out of the LA scene and been basically playing around, you know, all LA musicians and stuff my whole career. And so to kind of step outside of my box and to play with Damon, you know, he's from Nashville, Alabama, and all that. And
Was Damon one of your idols?
well, I'll tell you what.
You aspired to
Let me
play
answer
with?
for
No.
Yes.
Everyone. All the LA guys knew who Damon Johnson was. You know what I mean? And we dug Brother Kane, and I think we always kind of followed his career a little bit. And I'd never played with him, and so when we finally played together in Black Star Rider, it was like, that's why everyone loves the
That's
infamous
very
Damon
flattering.
Johnson.
Oh, Brother Kane had a very LA type sound, didn't you?
No, they were more of like a blues.
No, but you were Southern rock as well.
Yeah.
I think you
Well,
had
I mean,
an LA
yeah,
sound.
we certainly didn't have an LA sound. I mean, we were just, we were,
Well,
yeah, you know, I mean, we were just a band from the Southeast that had some good songs.
Great songs,
We
yeah.
were a very straight ahead band. We never gave any thought to our image or what kind of band we were. You know, it just kind of turned out like it turned out. You know, the tough thing for Brother Kane is we just weren't part of a scene. So we didn't really have other bands that we could play with. You know, Robbie and I've talked about that a lot. Certainly coming from the West Coast and Southern California in the 80s and early 90s was a great place to be. There was never a shortage of bands to play with and, you know, that type of thing. It was tougher for us being from the South.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to relocate. You know, we kind of established our touring base right there in the Southeast. But it's interesting, as Robbie was talking about. I mean, the cool thing about Black Star Riders is that I cannot think of another band that has more of a multicultural lineup of guys. I think if you really drew it out on paper and looked at all the bands everyone's been in previously, it might be easy to go, I don't know. This doesn't really make sense because it's across the board. But I just think there's this unique timing about the five of us coming together, the chemistry that we have on a personal level, combined with kind of the respect we have for the songwriting and the creative element. You know, I've been saying it, you know, from the beginning, especially once we got Robbie on board. I mean, this is the best band I've ever been in, and I've been in some great bands in my life, some great bands, and this is
And
hands
also,
down.
as a fan, that comes across. When you're on stage, you can see
awesome.
the respect that you have for each other. It does, it definitely comes across.
Thank you.
Like I said,
Thank you,
especially
yeah,
when you've got
absolutely.
You involved as well, Robbie. It's,
Thank you.
It's just one of the tightest bands. But I mean, you've played. You're one of the hardest working bands as well that I have
Thank
ever known because you just don't stop.
Well, no, we don't, and you know, we recognize that to be a guitar band in 2015, now there's only one way to build an audience.
Yeah.
Period, and that's to go out and play. You can't count on radio, you can't count on television, you can't even really count on the media. You just have to get out there and play and get the word of mouth going. And I think that's kind of the bonus that we've discovered, is that our fan base is incredible. They're as passionate as any fans you could ever want,
Absolutely.
and they do an amazing job of spreading the word, telling other people, playing the songs for other people. Go, man, you got to check this out. Dragging them to the show. Go, hey, I got extra tickets coming to me. We're gonna go see this band.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even on this tour, it's been an 11-day tour, I think. Even on your days off, you're still headlining shows. You're
Sure.
booking shows elsewhere, aren't you?
yeah, these couple of the London date was great, and then we've got the date
Really
in
cool.
Wolverhampton.
Wolverhampton, yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was cool that it could work out that way, because we're doing an abbreviated set, a very abbreviated set here, which understandably, you know, but to get to do our entire 90+ minute show is
It's a great feeling. You know, we played in London the other day, and it was just
Yeah.
such an amazing feeling. You were like,
We had to change the venue.
love these tunes. Yeah, yeah. There was a damage.
The
The roof
Empire's
clamps or
closed-
something like that. Or I don't know what happened.
yeah. Shepherd's Bush had some structural
Issues,
problems,
yeah.
and we were lucky that we were able to find another venue, and you know, grateful that the fans would
Found it with us.
turn up anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Going back to your early days, Robbie, I don't know how many people know, but you started on the LA scene quite early, didn't you? Was it? I've read that you were a tech for Poison for.
Well, yeah. I mean, I started really. I mean, I grew up in Hollywood from I was a little kid, and so you know the thing you did in LA was either you got into gangs or you got into music, or you were a bike rider or skateboarder. So I rode skateboards and played in bands when I was 14, and so it was just the thing that we did. You know, we also helped each other out, you know, where we could, and I ended up, you know, in that situation where I was helping the Poison guys out in the early days when they were doing clubs, and all the way up until, you know, they were out with David Lee Roth in '87, and so yeah, that's how I kind of got introduced to the I always say the business side of rock and roll, because I was always just like, hey, it's rock and roll, it's a business, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I learned a lot from Bob from Poison and those guys, and
Was it you were with Bob?
I was Bob's bass
You
tech,
were at
yeah.
CC, you were Bobby's
No, I was
tech.
Bob's tech, yeah. And it was cool. It was a great experience. I always chalk it up as one of the best experiences of my life. It was like going to rock and roll college and seeing how a band goes from a club to a headlining a stadium, or you know, selling 5 million records. And it was like, oh, okay, I can do this. You know what I mean? And I always kind of felt like, hey, I can do this. So I was never really afraid to do any of that stuff. You know.
So were you playing in bands at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just played in local club bands and stuff like that. And then my first thing was Dana from Slaughter sent me out to Lynch Mob in '89.
Right.
Yeah, and I was out there, did the demos and stuff for the Wicked Sensation album, and then ended up coming back to LA. And a year later, I joined Vince Neil's band.
Cool.
Yeah. So it was a cool experience. You know what I mean? I always say, you know, I've been handed a lot of things. I was just right place, right time, you know, and I kind of learned on the way, you know. But that's, I guess, the way all of our upbringing was in LA.
You make your own look as well, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, it was, you know, listen, if I wasn't good enough to be there, I would have been there. So, you know what I mean? It was a great
There's
experience.
a lot of hard work involved as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Obviously,
yeah.
Damon, Black Star Riders is Damon's favourite band that he's ever been in. Are Black Star Riders your favourite band?
Yes, it is, because, you know, coming from where we've all come from and traveling the roads we've all traveled to get here, you know, the way we've all crossed paths, you know, 6-7 degrees of separation, you know, we pass each other, never quite really worked together, but now that we're together, it seems kind of destined to a degree.
Yeah.
And I think that our last record really shows that. I'm a firm believer in the chemistry, as Damon is, and something spoke to me when I listened to the All Hell Breaks Loose record when they were looking for a bass player, and Jimmy Grosswood called me, and something said to me, this is the band for you. And just coming here and being a part of it and being around them told me this is where I belong.
Is that how you got involved? Did you know Jimmy beforehand?
Well, I had met Jimmy. We did a show together with a friend of ours named Kerry Kelly in Russia, and Jimmy and I met each other and exchanged information, and he reached out and contacted me about the auditions that they were having in LA. So I came out to the audition, and they were all like, "Who's this guy?" And I was like, "Okay."
No.
You know what I mean? No, it was
He's being humble, because we certainly knew who Robbie was. Robbie and I had met a couple of times because, as he mentioned, his great friend Kerry Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Kerry and I were in Alice Cooper together.
Yeah. That's how I know Kerry's name, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I just remember through the years, man.
Yeah.
Anytime there was a thing about, so-and-so's looking for a bass player, like, wow, they should call Crane. Crane's the guy.
Kerry's always been a great friend, and it's just championed, you know, our musical relationship. We've always looked out for each other, so it's been cool. Yeah. So that's actually how it kind of came to be, right? Is that Kerry kind of said something to you guys?
Yeah, Kerry was the one that kind of planted the seed, and you know, I agree with what Robbie said. It's almost like we were kind of destined to all come together, because you know, his addition to the band has been really extraordinary, for lack of an even stronger word, man. Because it brought our chemistry together. It kind of thickened our sound a little bit. You know, there's kind of a punk rock ethic at the foundation of who we are. You know, Ricky's responsible for a lot of that. He kind of drives that spiritually.
Yeah.
And Robbie was the right energy to plug into that. And really quickly, man, it was an exciting difference, you know. And we've been kind of on this wave now that we keep riding.
Yeah.
As he mentioned, making the album, finishing that was a great experience, and now, you know, the reaction to it's been nothing but positive. So, you know, to wrap up 2015 with a tour like this, with two great bands and some giant venues and a lot of people. I mean, hey man, I don't know how we could be doing better if you think about it. What's better than doing that? You know, when you're talking about a band that did not exist 3 years ago, and here we are.
Absolutely.
The arena in Manchester. You know, we feel like that's a real accomplishment, so we're certainly proud of that.
Yeah, and it goes from our crew to our management to the band. We all are just a cohesive unit now, you know what I mean? I feel like we all are working really well together, and things are seeming to really be functioning nicely.
Stars of aligned.
Yeah. We really are in a fortunate situation. I feel very blessed. I think we all do. Yeah, it's awesome.
Killer Instinct was mainly written by yourself, Damon and Ricky, with the odd thing that Scott came up with, and Sam, who was Ricky's friend as well. The third album, I presume you've been writing songs to go on the third album.
Yeah, we've all.
Do you get as much? Do you get any involvement as well, Robbie?
Well, even on the Killer Instinct album, they were like, you know, hey, what do you got? Bring it in. I mean, that's the one thing about Damon and Ricky, which I appreciate, is that they're very open to everything. You know, who's got an idea? Let's hear it. Being around the two of them, I always assimilate it to being like my own version of the Lennon-McCartney thing. It's like, well, I mean, seriously, because they're truly writing all the time. They're extremely creative, and I love that. And not only are they always writing individually, they're bouncing ideas off of each other, and it's infectious. When I came about in the band, I said to myself, I'm going to be a wallflower and see how this thing functions first before I start just shoving or interjecting myself into it. And I learned a big lesson, you know, don't wait too long because these guys are moving fast. But, you know, when you're hearing the creations of some of these songs, I was privy to some of it when we were on the bus on the first tour I did last summer or the summer before. And it's a great experience to watch these guys work and to see how easily and how effortless to a minor degree it is. I mean, I've been in some bands where we spent 9 months writing 10 terrible songs, you know what I mean? And I'm just being honest. And I've been in bands where we spent 2 weeks writing, 100 great ones.
Yeah.
But this band is, the way Ricky and Damon work is it's very inspiring because they do welcome everybody. Hey, bring it, man. You got it. Let's go. I mean, and I like that. I've been in bands where guys have been like, don't even ask, don't talk to me. And when you did, they wanted half your publishing, and you were like, for what? It's great. It's a great experience. Yeah, I think it's great.
It's going to be exciting to have Robbie involved. I mean, he's got great ears, he's a great listener, has great instincts, with his playing, his singing, his background singing, all of that. So, I just, man, again, Black Star Riders is about this energy. And I think now the band has evolved to such a great place that, and any idea that anyone brings in is going to get the attention it deserves, because we know that the word's not respect, it's almost like an understanding. The five of us have this understanding, and it's not easy. It's not easy to have that, and maybe that's the key thing about us being in so many other bands. Now that we're in this one together, and we feel what a great kind of flow there is to everything that we're doing, man, we want to protect that and nurture that, and there's no greater way to do that than to be writing together, recording together.
Yeah.
Do you do all your writing on the road? Because when you go home, not that you ever go home, because you're the hardest working band, I don't know, but you live in different parts of the world, don't you? But different parts of the States, and Scotland.
Yeah. No, the writing happens all the time, wherever. The great thing about the 21st century is technology is your friend.
Yeah.
So there's many times that, I'll have a riff or a melody, and I'll just send it to Ricky over my phone, or we'll Skype. We can video Skype and play some things and bounce it around. And even thinking back to the Killer Instinct, I remember we were trying to finish that song "Finest Hour," which we were both pretty excited about. We could tell it was turning into something special, and it just needed a bridge. And everything we had come up with up to that point just wasn't knocking us out. And I literally kind of dreamed something, and I picked up my guitar and worked it out, and I was like, this is it. So first thing, Ricky's like 7 a.m. I'm like, dude, wake up, listen to this. And he's like, oh, it sounds great, it's brilliant, I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah, technology is the way it's saved. It's definitely made it easy for us.
Yeah, and so we'll be, certainly using that technology again now. I mean, right now it's just the beginning stages.
Yeah.
There's riffs starting to sprinkle about. Ricky's, working on sets of lyrics, and it's coming together. We'll write the new album very much the way we did the previous two. You just bounce things around. Some things work, some things don't. I mean, listen, if there's 10 songs on the album that I co-wrote, there were 30 or 40 other ones that I came in with ideas that just didn't really click,
They were great, though. They were great,
But I just think, as Robbie alluded to, I think it's more about a commitment to being creative all the time. It's not necessarily a thing that we switch on and off. We're just always listening.
You've proved it with 2 albums in 3 years, haven't you? It's unprecedented these days. There's not many bands release 2 albums in such a short space of time.
Well, the songs have to be good.
That's right.
Absolutely.
The songs have to be really good for us to succeed in 2015 and going forward. We cannot put out subpar music. We know we can't. And it's almost like some fear that we operate out of right there, in a good way.
Agreed.
It's like some of the athletes that we look up to, they talk about that drives them. It's the fear of failure, the fear of not, scoring the winning goal, or, whatever. We feel some of that. So the only way around that, man, is you got to train. You got to work at it all the time.
Yeah, we do that as a band. I think that's a different thing. The difference in this band as well is that we spend a lot of time together on the road when we're together, but we do everything together. And most bands, you get sick of each other quickly, but for some reason we've been lucky in that our personalities and just our day-to-day lives are very cohesive. We made a commitment to this band. I did when I joined the band. They definitely let me know, hey, this is what we're about. Are you interested? And I was totally game. And I think it's a commitment that you have to make to a band like this. You know what I mean? It's
And of course, in Robbie's case, we made him a 5% partner for the first 6 years, and then we're going to renegotiate the contract.
Don't be happy with that.
No,
Hey man, it's great. It's great. They welcome me as a partner and as a friend and as a band member, and I love it. You know what I mean? And we have a great producer that we work with that we're just like our 6th member. We're in the studio. You know, Nick Raskulinich is a part of it as well, and it's just great. We just have a really good thing going on, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's important. Is a good foundation. You know, you can build anything on a great foundation. You know, and that's what I believe we're building. Yeah.
I was watching a YouTube video of yourself on that metal show in the
Oh, yeah, it was
States,
great.
talking about the Holy Grail of guitars, but Kirk Hammett owns that guitar at the moment, which was owned by Peter Green and then Gary Moore.
Yeah.
But you didn't get much of a say in that interview. You did a little bit.
Oh, you mean when we were all sitting together?
Yeah, yourself, Kirk Hammett, Michael Schenker.
Well-
so is that your Holy Grail guitar?
It was really
I don't know, man.
What did they pick? The Gary Moore Les Paul? Which was
Yeah,
it?
the
Yeah.
guitar that Gary got from Peter Green
Right.
and that he played throughout his career.
Well, we just saw, what was the Les Paul we saw the other day?
Oh, Bernie
Marsden's.
Marsden. Bernie Marsden came down to the
Beast.
He
show
played in Birmingham, didn't he?
in Nottingham.
Nottingham was it with White
Yeah, and he brought his 59, which has been affectionately called the Beast.
Yeah.
And those of us that are guitar nerds, we know all about
We all
it.
gathered round.
So for me to have Bernie himself show me his guitar, man, was a tremendous honor. He could not have been more humble and just such a nice guy, an incredible player, great songwriter. That was very cool. I mean, there's a few guitars certainly that I kind of hold in, magic regard. Certainly, Gary's Les Paul, the
Yeah.
Peter Green Paul that Kirk Hammett now owns. That first Edward Van Halen Frankenstein is pretty
Yeah.
special. Jimmy Page's Les Paul.
Yeah.
Dwayne Allman's Les Paul.
Dwayne Allman.
Many of the Les Pauls then.
Yeah, I'm a Gibson guy, man. Listen,
I'm a Fender guy.
I've been a Gibson guy since I was a kid. My dad had 2 Gibsons, and then as I started discovering bands, all my favorite bands had guitars that played Les Pauls. Ace Frehley, Gary Rossington,
Yeah.
Dwayne Allman, Jimmy Page, Joe Perry. Joe Perry's 58. It's like, wow, that's a great Les Paul.
So why are you a Fender guy then, Robert? Because what's
When I was a kid, I grew up playing Fenders. My dad played Fenders. My grandfather worked at the Fender factory.
All right.
Yeah, in Fullerton. Yeah, and I've had a Fender my whole life. And, yeah, I've played the same bass since I was about 14, 15.
Really?
Yep. And I've had it ever since I recorded. Almost about every record I've ever done has been with that bass as well.
Wow.
Great
Yeah,
bass,
yeah.
special.
Yeah, it's special. I've had it forever, and
That's unbelievable. From 14 and you're still playing it.
yeah, I have a lot of other basses, but I'm like, for some reason, I'm like, I don't know why I like this one, but and some people, I grew up loving, dudes like Steve Harris and guys like that just they always had the same bass, and I was like, okay, why should I change? We always try different things, but we always gravitate back toward the great stuff. You know what I mean? When I was in Hollywood, they had the graphic guitars in the '80s, and I would play my P bass and. People would be like, man, you gotta get a guitar with like a chick's legs on it. I was like,
Kind of hockey stick.
yeah, the hockey stick. Well, I had those too, but I mean, I always gravitated back toward this bass. And
So do you own your Holy Grail guitar, or is there another
well,
one?
yeah, I think I do, but sure, there's all kinds of like John Paul Jones's 1960 jazz bass. It's just those are the greats. And you hear some of those, and there's a lot of great guys that I just would love to. Jaco Pastorius is 61.
Yeah.
So it's there's a lot of great, but I'm a guitar fan just like Damon. We talk guitar all day, and I'm a Fender guy, so I'm a Van Halen fan. I like all those Van Halens, but I love I love all. I'm not just a Fender guy. I mean, I love the Gibsons as well. I mean, it's hard to get around those Gibsons. Damon has a Gibson that he just recently got. I think is one of my favorites right now of all the Les Pauls I've played with, and it's pretty special.
How many guitars do you need? Are they all Les Pauls that you own?
No. I've got some Fenders, Tele, and Strat.
Yeah.
I've got some great ESP guitars. I've developed a relationship with them while I was with Alice Cooper, and really proud of those guitars. Especially to take on the road. They're just so solid. They stay in tune, and they've just been a great company to work with. They look great, play great. I'm definitely a Les Paul guy, a Gibson guy from my youth.
How many do you bring with you on tour?
You know, generally
Too
three. Too many. Yeah,
Too many.
too many if you ask my Ted. If you ask Cody.
I'm kidding.
No, you know, 3 or 4. The 4th one's really just to have something in the dressing room to warm up on. I mean, right now, after getting that new one, I could just show up with one and do the whole gig, and I'd be fine with that. But you know, it's nice to be able to change some tunings. There's a few different tones now, like on the new album. There's a couple of times where I want a different sound, you know, and I'll be changing. And I'm sure that's going to continue on the next album. You know, I've got a couple of SGs I'd love to bring out. You know, again, it's a different sound.
Yeah.
I love SGs.
But it's great having. It's another thing about having Robbie in the band is he's a deep guitar aficionado as well, so it's fun to talk about.
Geek.
Yeah, geek.
I love to talk gear. I'm like, you know, this tube, Scott Gorham's looking at me going, what's that? I'm like, this is a very expensive tube. He's like, okay. Have a good day. I'm like, it's a Mallard.
Stick it
Yeah. I like to dabble in gear.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So once this tour's over with, is that it for this year? No?
Oh, yeah.
And are you all heading back home for Christmas?
Yeah.
Everybody's home for the holidays. You know, Ricky's got some solo stuff happening first quarter of the year, but we're going to be, you know, starting to exchange those ideas, and you know, the whole band. You know, we're just going to be working on that. There's, you know, there's talk of getting in the studio in the summer. So, you know, we've got a lot of work to do, certainly songwriting wise, to get ready for that. But there's no question, man, that we're so aware of the momentum that we have on our side right now.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we've been in this business a long time individually, so we all recognize that we're really fortunate to be where we are right now, and we want to take full advantage of all the hard work we've done so far. We want that to continue, and it's kind of up to us, you know.
Yeah.
If the thing falls apart, we can't blame anyone but ourselves, you know. So,
The way it's going, I can't see it ever falling apart.
well, touch wood.
Touch wood, yeah.
Touch wood.
Yeah, I guess my head's wood.
On that note, thank you very much,
Absolutely.
guys.
Thanks for
It's been
having
an
us. We
absolute
appreciate it so much.
pleasure talking to you. Thank you.